Hey guys, I'm Nicole.
And I'm Abby.
And today we're going to be talking about our sorority experience.
But before we do that, we just want to apologize for not making a video for a few weeks because we've been super busy with everything. We're in a lot of clubs and obviously sororities and a sorority now, so it's just been a lot. And we have homework and everything, so we don't really have time to film as much, but we're going to try to work on filming more.
So, without further ado,
let's get started. So initially before we went into anything sorority, at first we did not want to. Over the summer last year, senior year, we didn't really want to go into sorority. We didn't think it was for us. We weren't really interested until a friend from our school, we played tennis with her. She graduated a few years before us, but she was in a sorority and she's like, hey, you guys should join. It's super fun. This is all the stuff we do, all that stuff. And I was like, wow. Me and Nicole were like, oh my gosh, that sounds so fun. She actually messaged Nicole first and was explaining it, and we were like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it sounded like something that was right up our alley, exactly what we wanted to do, the philanthropy, just volunteering, and then also just meeting new people and the events they do. It's just a great way to get involved on campus. And I think it's a great way to get back to the community too, obviously, because that's one of the main things that a sorority does, despite what society thinks.
We didn't really know what we were walking into. We honestly had no idea.
We were in the dark the entire rush week.
Even during recruitment and everything, we still didn't know. But coming into it, we were like, what the heck is going on? We were so confused. So the first day we had house tours, and we at UNI there are only 5 sororities.
Yeah,
there are 4 established sororities and then a new one.
Yeah, there's a new one that's they only did the house tour around because they just kind of wanted to explain what they're about.
The new one, which is Alpha Sigma Tau.
Yeah, and so we just kind of were in a room, and they kind of told us about what they were going to do with the sorority and how they were just going to get colony members. So that's people that just start the sorority.
We have 4 established sororities: Gamma Phi Beta, Alpha Phi, Alpha Delta Pi, and Alpha Z Delta. So for the house tours, we looked at the 4 houses, and then Alpha Sigma Tau, we just had a presentation. So we went to each house, and we had no idea what we were going to do. It was so crazy. We walked in having no idea. But first, when you get there, they are just chanting their songs, because every sorority has a song. So you walk up there, and we all just wait outside, and they're chanting their songs, and it was actually really weird because I don't know, it was awkward. But then, you walk in and you just sit down and you talk to someone, just one-on-one talk to someone, and you just rotate. It's so hard to explain, but, you just rotate and talk to people. And basically, house tours are getting to know the house, the sorority at all, their philanthropy and everything, and just talking to people and, getting, those first impressions with everyone.
I just want to, talk about, kind of how I felt going into it. It was really awkward, and so you would just talk to different people, and it wasn't even really a house tour because you would just talk in a room. They wouldn't talk about the room. You would just talk in the room, and they would ask you questions about yourself and what you're involved in, what you're interested in, why you want to be in a sorority. Those kind of basic questions. I think I answered those 1,000 times. So at the end of the house tours, we had to knock it down to 3 out of the 4 that we went to, since Alpha Sigma Tau wasn't a part of it. So we knocked it down to 3, and that was pretty easy. The first round is really easy to pick because you kind of see I definitely did not I feel there's always going to be at least one that you're oh yeah, I didn't really feel comfortable in there. I didn't really connect with any of the girls that I talked to. So that was a really easy one. Right away we knocked out Alpha Delta Pi.
We both did. We tried not to influence each other's decisions.
Yeah, we did it on our own. Yeah, we were in different groups most of the time. We weren't with each other. So yeah, that was the first day. The second day we had the philanthropy round. So that's when you go to your 3 houses that you chose, and only if you get asked back. So that was the one thing that if a sorority didn't feel connected to you, but you felt connected to them and you wrote their name down, if it's not mutual, then you couldn't go back the next round. I dropped Alpha Delta Pi, I didn't want to go, but they still invited me back, and then one of the other sororities didn't, which was okay. I wasn't really super into that sorority, but it was just kind of weird because I was I didn't really want to go here, but I'm glad I did, actually, because I really ended up liking the sorority even more, even though I dropped it, because I thought I didn't at first. So definitely keep an open mind throughout it, because you never know. The first day, you have no idea about the sorority, so keep an open mind the whole time. So yeah, so you go to the houses, and then it's kind of the same thing. So the only thing that's different is that the main topic is not you, it's like the philanthropy. So you get to ask questions about it, and they kind of tell you a little more about some of the events that they do, like related to their philanthropy. It's a really cool round. They show like videos and stuff of like the effect of like what they've done with their philanthropy. It's really awesome, and I really enjoyed that round.
Throughout that, like as we were going through, at this point, by the second day, we had one sorority that we were like, yes, this is the one that I really like, and that was Gamma Phi Beta. We were going through and we're like, oh my gosh, like this one is just so awesome. Like the philanthropy was like building stronger girls.
Yeah, it was so, I just loved it so much.
Yeah, we were like in love. We were going through and we're like, this is so awesome. I mean, all of them were so cool, but like that one we just felt a little more connected with. So yeah, throughout that one, we tried to keep an open mind still, but like we were still kind of leaning towards that one. So that was basically the second day. I mean, we just did like philanthropy stuff. There wasn't too much extra besides that.
Yeah, and then at the end you knocked it down to the 2 that you want to go back to for preference day. So as of right now, like the first round we dropped Alpha Delta Pi. I got asked back to Gamma Phi Beta, Alpha Z Delta, and Alpha Phi.
And I dropped Alpha Delta Pi, but I still got asked back to Alpha Delta Pi, Alpha Z Delta, and Gamma Phi Beta. So yeah.
So, and then the second, so after philanthropy day, I asked for Gamma Phi Beta and Alpha Z Delta, and I got asked back to both of them for preference day.
Yeah, I did too. So, on to preference day. For preference day, this is basically just like preference, like these are the ones that you like the most. These are the ones that you could see yourself in. So,
and if you did get asked back, like it's a big deal. Like those people do really
they're interested in you too.
Yeah, they do really see you as like being in their sorority and just being a part of like their sisterhood.
So they have like a typical ceremony they would have, and you just really get to like talk to the sisters of the sorority and just see like any questions you have, just figure out where you want to be and where you can see yourself. So like if you're a little bit unsure about something, ask those questions.
Yeah, this is the day to ask those questions. Yeah, because if you're uncertain about any like particular thing about a sorority, then ask it right now, because they'll definitely like clear it up for you or whatever. I only talked to like 2 people. So that was one thing that was definitely different from all of the other rounds.
And like the people you talked to were people that you talked to before. Like in the other 2 days, you talked to all different girls. But in preference round, you talk to girls that you already talked to previously, just to like ask them more questions, and like they can really get a feel of you. Because
and I think they're the ones, because what I was told by one of our like sorority friends that was like doing that is that pretty much the people that you talk to are pretty much like grading you, which sounds a little scary, but it's not at all, because they're just as nervous as you are. Yeah. But like afterwards, they were like, oh, I like this person, or I didn't like this person, and like we really connected. I really think she'd be like a great asset to our sorority. They like talk to their other sisters and decide like, okay, who do we want to ask back? So this preference round is really important.
This one, we still had Gamma Phi Beta in mind. Like we still really liked that sorority. We were talking to some of the girls, and they're like, oh my gosh, we can see you as our sister. Like they were really. Like, we liked Alpha Z Delta, but we were, like, still leaning a little bit.
I was really leaning towards Gamma Phi Beta, if I'm being honest.
Like, it was just, they were talking to us, and I don't know, they were kind of, like, making it seem that we were already in. Like,
I felt, like, so certain. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to be in Gamma Phi Beta. Like, these girls want me to be their sisters.
And it was so crazy. So, like, they were talking to us, and, like, we were getting so excited, and we're like, yes, we're going to be in Gamma Phi Beta. Like, this is so cool. The girl that recommended us was actually in Alpha Z Delta, so they kind of, like, had an idea about us anyways. But, like, we're still leaning towards Gamma Phi Beta just because that one fit better for us.
So, at the end of the preference round, we picked, like, this was, like, the final, like, you pick your number 1 and your number 2. And so, like, if you don't get a bid from the first one, then you get a bid from the second one.
And this was super hard for me. I was kind of, like, freaking out because I really liked Gamma Phi Beta, but, like, I still felt a connection with Alpha Z. And I don't know, like, it was hard for me. I'm really bad at making decisions. Finally, like, I just wrote down Gamma Phi Beta. That was my number 1, and then Alpha Z Delta was my number 2. And I felt pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah, and I was, like, really certain. I was really certain about my decision. I didn't have to talk to anybody because I was just, like, I want Gamma Phi, and then Alpha Z Delta would be my second choice. So, and plus, I was just felt really confident that I was going into Gamma Phi.
On to bid day.
Yeah, okay. So, on bid day, it started, like, early in the morning. I don't know. It was really, I don't know, like, it sucked. We had to, like, wait, and we were sitting there for, like, an hour and a half. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, they did not need us to come there that early. There was absolutely no reason. Like, they didn't talk to us about anything. the only thing they talked to us about was like hazing.
And it didn't even start until an hour in. So like we were just sitting for an hour, and then finally after that hour they started calling girls in, and then when you'd like go in, you'd get a card and it would say like, this sorority is offering you a bid. Some girls I think didn't. There was like 2 out of everyone that didn't get a bid, but like most
like
people
95% of people did.
Yeah, so like you'd get a card and they would say, this sorority is offering you a bid, and then you can accept and
or
go down to your
decline,
sisters or decline. So we were sitting, I thought I was going to be like one of the first because my last name starts with a B, so I'm in the beginning of the alphabet, but I was literally one of the last people, and I was like freaking out. So Nicole went first.
Actually, funny story for it.
There was a girl that's like really similar.
Oh.
It was like, okay, Abby and Addie, and then her last name was like almost, like it sounded so similar. So I like went up and I was like, yeah, that's me. And I like went and they like handed me the card, and I was like, that's not my name. And I had to go sit back down because it wasn't even me. It sucked. I was so sad.
Okay, but anyway, I just thought that was funny. Okay, so when I did go in, I was like, I don't really know how to explain it. Like, I was more excited than I was nervous because I was just like, oh, this is like finally like what we've been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I was like super certain about Gamma Phi. So I went in there and my real grandma was like holding my letter, and I like looked at it, I opened it, I couldn't get it open. I was so like my hands started shaking at this point. And so I opened it, and then it said,
this is what it looked like.
So it says, wait. It says, with love and careful thought, the Sisters of Alpha Zeta Delta have chosen Nicole to become a member of the Delta Chi chapter. So, when I opened it, my initial reaction was a little disappointed because I was really so sad. I was so sad in Gamma Phi. Like, this girls I talked to, like, I just was like, oh my gosh, like, they love me, I love them. Like, I'm just going to be their sisters. Like, it's going to be so fun. And so then, like, when I saw that, I was a little disappointed. But I accepted right away because I knew I wanted to be in a sorority, and I would have definitely regretted if I had declined, which I was still, like, excited about Alpha Zeta Delta. It wasn't that I wasn't, like, it was only Gamma Phi Beta. Like, it was Alpha Zeta Delta too, but I just was really set on Gamma Phi. But after, like, the initial, like, disappointment, it sounds terrible. Oh my gosh. After that, they just have you, like, go in a line, and then they, like, announce you, and then you have a Rose Buddy. And they come and, like, hug you, and then, like,
and your Rose Buddy is the person that you talk to on preference, like, the person that you mainly talk to throughout the whole experience in the house.
So, like, my Rose Buddy, like, came up and, like, hugged me, and it was so cute. Like, she gave me, like, her, like, the Alpha Zeta Delta rose, and, like, they had, like, a beach ball and, like, a shirt for me and
like,
stuff.
lots of cool.
Yeah. So after that, I was like, oh, this is so cute. Like, I love this. There's no reason to be disappointed. Like, I couldn't go wrong with any sorority. Of course, I was going to be a little disappointed when I was so set on one. But right after that, I was pretty okay with it.
And for me, so Nicole texted me and said she got an Alpha Zeta Delta.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
Like, when I was waiting in line, I was like, I got Alpha Zeta Delta.
And I was like, oh my gosh. But either way, I wasn't going to lose because I wanted Gamma Phi Beta. But, like, being in Alpha Zeta Delta with Nicole, I was still, like, that would be nice, too. I mean, I still, like, didn't know. So, finally.
When I was waiting, I was terrified. I didn't know what Abby was going to get. And I was so scared she was going to be in Gamma Phi because, one, I would have been, like, kind of jealous, and then 2, like, we wouldn't have been in the same sorority, so I was just, like, sitting there the whole time, like, where's Abby, she was literally, like, the last person.
Yeah, so finally they called my name, and I went up there, and my real gamma's there. I, like, couldn't open my letter, and before this, she was telling me, like, no matter what happens, you're gonna end up where you belong. So if, like, because when I was, like, deciding between which one, she's like, if you pick this sorority and you might end up in that one or the other one, it doesn't matter because you're gonna be where you belong. So I was like, okay, that helped me feel a little bit better. My real gamma was so sweet. So I went up to her, and I got my envelope, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I opened it, and it said Alpha Zeta Delta. And I was like, like, I wasn't really disappointed necessarily. I was a little bit, but, like, Nicole was still in it, so I was okay. So I was like, yeah, I accept it. And then I just, like,
so I was like, yeah, I accept.
Yeah. At first, me and Nicole, we were still disappointed. Like, at first we were excited, but then, like, we were thinking about it, we were super disappointed.
Yeah, so at first I was, like, a little salty because I'm like, oh, they didn't want me. Like, that's kind of annoying. It was, like, hurtful, I think, that they didn't want me. So now, like, moving, like, to the present.
Right now.
Yeah, so.
We love it.
Yeah, we love Alpha Zeta Delta. like I love everybody in it. I mean, everybody's like really genuine.
We've been in Alpha Zeta Delta for a little over 2 weeks, so we've gotten a little bit better feel. We've been doing some stuff with our sisters, and we just love it so much. Everybody's so sweet, and I feel like we connect so much. Like our friend from high school is in there, but also
and she's like really making us feel like comfortable.
Oh yeah, that's so
she's
sweet.
Inviting us to do things, and so we've been getting to know like her, like other sisters that are like good friends with her. So it's been really good. Like
yeah,
we're having a lot of fun.
I don't regret it at all anymore.
No.
Like I honestly think that this is the place that I was meant to be.
I think it just goes off like what your road game is. So like she said, no matter what,
Yeah.
like you're gonna be where you're supposed to be. So like
that was perfect that she said.
yeah,
that.
like because Alpha Zeta Delta is like where we're supposed to be. Like.
So we wanted to tell you guys our experience because we definitely learned a lot throughout this process. We learned like just how to be more open-minded and like talk to people, and I don't know, it's just
I
such
think
a
it
great
really
experience.
bettered my, I don't know if that's a word, but my communication skills. Like I feel like they're so much better.
And within a week. But we definitely recommend you guys look into sorority life, Greek life, all of that stuff because it's such a great opportunity, and that's probably one of the best things, like decisions I've made so far in college. I mean, we've only been in here for like a month, but
if you think like, oh, that's so not for me, like just like kind of research a little bit on like your universities, wherever you're going, because it's honestly like like Abby said, like the best decision that we've made. That was our story, and so we're in Alpha Zeta Delta. If you didn't catch that,
love it.
Yeah, let us know if you have any more video ideas for us, because we're definitely open to anything.
And let us know if you're in a sorority and which one, and how you feel about it, because we'd love to know that.
Okay, so we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching. Bye.